Hello everyone and welcome to the part 17 of this video series. Now in this video we are going to continue working on this individual shorts. We are going to render more shorts by author, and also we are going to work on this follow button. So now we can actually follow and unfollow an author. So you can see here I can follow this author and unfollow it. Okay, so we are going to do these things in this tutorial. Let's get started and start working on this. First we are going to render the related post by this user. Okay, so go to the main view, and now here we are going to start working. So below the main content we are going to add a div, and inside that add one more div. Now give this a class name of flex item center, margin top of 14 and margin bottom of 8. Now inside this div add one more div, and this will be a self-closing div. Okay, so we are going to remove this and write like this. Give this a class name of w full height of 2 pixels and bg neutral of 200. Okay, now below this div we are going to add a span. Give this a class name of mx5, and now inside this we are going to use the data that we have fetched here. So show data dot user dot name. So if we have this data, then we are going to render an image here. Otherwise we are going to render a p tag. Okay, so let's write this first. So give this a class name. Okay, let's write this first. So write a div, give this a class name of w16 h of 16, and now inside this we are going to have the image tag. So image from next image, src will be this value and alt value will be this same, so we can take the same value. Okay, and after that we need to provide the width and height. So the width will be of 64 pixels and height will be of 64 pixels. Okay, and then give this a class name of rounded full to make this a circle. Now inside this div give this a first class name of w16 h of 16 bg orange of 500, rounded full flex item center and justify center, and inside that add a p tag. Give this a class name as well. Make this uppercase, text 4xl, font medium, text white, and then we can use the name of the user. So show data dot user dot name dot caret, and we are going to take the first character. Okay, now let's save, and we should have something like this. Now we need to add one more div over here. So let's go here and we can copy this and paste here so that this will be in the center. Okay, after that outside this div add one more div. Give this a class name of flex call item center, and then inside this we can add a h1 tag. Give this a class name of text 2xl, font medium, text black, and then we can use the username here. Show data dot user dot name. After that add a p tag. Give this a class name text sm py3 and mb4. Then inside this we can write some text. So I'm going to write, now this text is actually the tagline of an individual user. So you can go to the user and add a new field like tagline, and the user can add this tagline in the profile page, which we are going to add later. So you can do that, But for this tutorial I'm just going to write this hard coded, so this will be same for all the users, but you can definitely add any field in the user table and let the user decide what the tagline they want in the profile page. Okay, so this will be for that. After that we are going to add a button, then give this a class name of px5, py of 10 pixels and rounded full, bg neutral of 950, font medium, text white, text and sm. Okay, now here we can write get in touch. Now let's save, and now this is going to look like this. Okay, so this is actually the info about this author of this short. Now we are going to fetch some more shots from this author and display over here. Okay, so now we can go above and use one more query here. So I'm just going to duplicate this time. This loading will be more short loading. Okay, and the data will be more short data, okay. Now after this we are going to add one more thing here, that would be short data dot user dot id. So if we have this, then we are going to use another function to get more shots of this user. So we can write get more shot by user, and then we can pass this user id. Okay, and now let's define this function. So go to the upload.ts and we can write export const, this will be get more shot by user is equals to, this will be our synchronous function, and now this will take the parameter as id. So id will be a type of string. Okay, now let's import that over here. Now let's again go back to our file, use try and catch block here, and we can get more shots here. So const shots is equals to await Prisma dot upload dot find many, and add the where condition where a user id will be equals to id, and we are not going to actually include this post. So we are going to add here that id should not be equals to the provided id. So by this we are going to get more shots of this author, but we are not going to include this particular shot in that response. Okay, now after that we are going to include the items. So we can write include items. Okay, and this will be true. After that I'm going to define the take value, which will be 4. So I want only 4 shots of this author to display over here, and after that the order by will be created at in the descending order. Okay, and then we are just going to console our error if we have any. So console dot log and write error fetching more shots. Okay, and also we are going to return null. Okay, and here return the shots. Okay, so this way this is done, and also we do not have any errors now. Okay, now we can use that over here. Okay, so we are going to use the same component each shot over here, and we are going to map over this new more data shots. Okay, now let's render these more shots. So let's go below, and after this button, after this div, we are going to add one more div. Inside that add one more div, give this a class name of flex item center, justify between mt20 and mb3. Inside that add h1 tag. Inside that we are going to show the name of the user, so we can write more by and the name of the user, so short data dot user dot name, and give this a class name, so class name will be font bold. Okay, after that below this we are going to have a link from next link, and href will be the profile page. So this is not made yet, but we are going to make it later. And here we can write view profile. Okay, after this below this div add one more div and give this a class name of grid lg grid calls for md grid calls 2, md grid calls 3, sm grid calls 2, and gap will be of 5. Okay, after this inside this div we can map over the more data, so we can write more short data. If we have this data, then we are going to map over it, so more short data dot map data and index, add a div here, give this key, so the key value will be index, and inside that we are going to use the each short component, and we have to pass the short will be data and the key. So yeah, we do not need to pass the key here, just the data. Now we have a type mismatch, and it is saying that the user is missing. Okay, so let's go to each short and go to this type. You'll see that we have user here, but the data we are fetching here does not have a user inside that, so we can include the user as well here, and this will include, sorry, we are going to select from here, select the name, which will be a true, and the image. Okay, so we are going to get these two values, and now we should not have any problem. Okay, so now the user here have name and image, and it can be string or null. Let's go here and let's see what I have defined. Okay, we can add null as well, and that should solve the problem. Now let's save this and go back here and refresh the page. Okay, and now we should have, okay, so we have a problem here. We can add a question mark here because sometimes we do not have this data, and yeah. Okay, so more short data is not a function. Let's console our more short data first. And we can go below and comment this out for now. So what we are getting here is only an object, not an array, and that is why we are getting this not a function error. So what can we do here? Let's go to this function, and here we are getting an array and we are returning this array. Okay, get more short by user, get more short by user, more short. Okay, so the problem is that we have to change this query key. This will be more short, and now this should solve the problem. So now I'm going to open this again, and the query data cannot be undefined. Please make sure to return a value other than more. Okay, so the problem was with this key here. Instead of passing this key, we are going to pass the show data. So whenever the show data changes, we are going to call this function, and that would update our this data. Okay, so now let's save this, and when I open this, okay, I need to go below and uncomment this, and here as you can see we have our more short data. I can close this one and I can open this one, and I'll get more shots for this author. Okay, so now this is working, and now if I click on this, we get this shot to be opened. Okay, so this is working. Okay, and this is what we wanted. Now let's start working on this follow button. Okay, so we can go here, and now we are going to work in the heading component. Before that, let's define our function to follow a user. So in the actions, we are going to make one more file, and that would be following.ts, and that use server, and then we are going to import our Prisma and auth. So we can go here and copy the Prisma and also the auth, so this one. After that, I'm going to define a function that would be toggle follow user. Export const toggle follow user, and this will be asynchronous. This will take user ID as a parameter to toggle it, so this will be a type of string. And inside that, first we are going to get the session from auth, so we can write const session is equals to await auth. Okay, and from the session we are going to get the user. First we are going to check if we have session or not, and also we are going to check if we have session dot user or not. Okay, and this will be OR operator. Okay, so if we do not have any of this, we are just going to return an error. So error will be user not authenticated. After that, we are going to check if we have this user ID or not. So I'm going to make this user ID toggle. So user ID toggle, if we do not have this, then we can again return an error saying that invalid user to follow. Okay, after this I'm also going to check if this user ID matches with the session's user ID. Then I'm going to return you cannot follow yourself. So if the user ID to toggle is equals to session.user.id, then return an error saying that you cannot follow yourself. And actually we are not going to show the user follow button if they're watching their own shot. Okay, so this will be just an extra layer for safety. Okay, after that we are going to get the follower ID, so we can add const follower ID, and this will be equals to session.user.id. and after that we are going to check for the existing follow. If user have already followed this author, we are going to unfollow that. Okay, so first we are going to check if user have already followed that author. So existing follow, and this will be equals to await prisma dot. Okay, so first we need to add a following table. So I'm going to go to the Prisma, and I'm going to add that model. So add model following. First this will have id, so id will be a type of string and this will be auto generated. After that we are going to have follower id, this will be type of string, then following id, and this will be type of string as well. And now let's define the relations. So follower, this will come from the user table at the relation, and first we are going to provide the name, so this will be followers. Okay, then fields will be follower id, and then reference will be id. Similarly we are going to write for following, and this will be coming from the user, and we can just copy this and paste here and change this to following, and this will be following id. Okay, after that we are going to make a constraint here that their combination should be unique. So follower id and following id, the combination should be unique. Now let's go to the user and define the relation over here as well. So this will be followers, we are going to get them from the following, add the relation and get the name from here, followers. And second is for following, so following and relation and get the name from here. And now we should not have any kind of errors. Now let's save and push it to the database. So we can write npx prisma db push, sorry, not push. So now that is done, we can go back to our following.ts file, and now we can access this table. So following dot find unique, and here where condition, and then we are going to use that unique constraint follower id and following id, and we can pass the follower id which we are getting from here and the following id which we are going to get from the front end, which is the user toggle id. Okay, and okay, so this can be undefined, so I'm going to check this above here as well. Okay, add a exclamation mark, and now we should not have any kind of errors. So with this we will get this value if the user have already followed this author or not. So now I'm going to check based on this. So try and catch, if the user have already followed that user, then we are going to unfollow that user. So existing flow, if this exists, then we are going to write await prisma dot following dot delete and where condition, and then we are going to use this unique condition in which we are going to pass these values. So we are going to now delete that following data. Okay, and after that we can return success message to be true, and then a message which will say unfollowed author. Okay, and this should be inside the if condition, else we are going to follow that user. So I'm just going to copy this and let's remove this, and we are going to create data will be follower id and following id, which will be user id toggle. Okay, and here we can return same success true and successfully followed author. Okay, and lastly we can just console our error here. Okay, and we can also pass the error here, and then we can return an error saying error toggling follow status. So with this we are done with our function here. Now we can save this and go back to main view, so not main view, in the heading.tsx, and here we can use that function. So we are going to use mutation from React query. So we can add const and empty object is equals to use mutation. Now here we are going to have mutation key, and this can be we can say follow toggle, and then we are going to have mutation function. Okay, so async, inside that we can return await what was the name, toggle follow user. So we can write toggle follow user, and then we can pass the user ID toggle. So I think we are getting the user from here. I'm going to get user from the short data. So the short data dot user dot id. Okay, and this can be undefined, so we are going to check it here. If we have this value, then we are going to call this and return this. Now let's remove this, and we are going to call this follow mutation. Okay, and that's it. Now I'm going to define a function to actually follow the user. So we can write const follow toggle function. Okay, and now inside this we are going to use this follow mutation. Okay, so we can write follow mutation dot mutate, and first we need to pass the variables. Since we do not have any kind of variables, we are just going to leave that. Okay, and that will be it for this function. Now let's go below, and in this div, not in this div, in this p, we can add that function. On clicking this, we are going to invoke this follow toggle function. This will be toggle. Okay, and I'm going to change in this class name. So I'm going to write it like this. So here I'm going to check if the sessions user ID is equals to this short user ID. If they are same, then I'm going to actually not show this button. So let's go here, and I'm going to import use session from next. Okay, so Next-Auth React, get the session from here. So const session is equals to use session. Okay, now we can go below, and here we can check here if the session dot data dot user dot id, if this is equals to this short data dot user id. So short data dot user dot id, if this is equals to, then we are going to make this hidden, otherwise we are not going to do anything. Remove this, and we can write follow mutation dot is pending. So if this is pending, then we are going to show a loader. So loader circle from loosely react, and give this a class name animate spin. Okay, and inline block, width will be 2, height will be 2, rounded full, and text pink of 600. Okay, and now outside this we are going to check if the user have already followed that author or not. So based on that, we are going to show either a following or a follow button. Okay, so let's go and add one more function here, and this will be export const is following. Okay, so this will be the function. Asynchronous function will be add up equals to sign, and this will take some parameters. So we are going to pass user ID to check, and this will be type of string. Now we can go above and copy, I think, this part and paste it over here. We can replace this with this here and here, and then we are going to check. So we can use if condition. So let's add a try and catch. We can pass that over here, and then we are going to check if existing follow is available. Then we are going to return success true, and is following is true. Okay, otherwise we are going to return something else. So like this. Now here in the catch block we are going to console our error. So, and also we can return this error checking the follow status. So now let's save this and go back to the heading.tsx. Now we are going to use query here. So we can write const use query. Now use query, pass the query function, key, and this will be check follow and then query function. So query function, and this will be asynchronous function. Inside that we are just going to first check if we have the user data or not. Let's have it and check what the name was, is following. So is following, and then we can pass this short user ID. Okay, and lastly we can return our response if the response dot success is true. Okay, so we can return the response, and from this we are going to get data, and we can name this is follow check data. Okay, something like this, and we are going to pass another query key, which will be this follow toggle function. Okay, so whenever this runs, we are going to call this function. What this is saying? Okay, so we need to make this above. Now we do not have any kind of problem. Now let's use this over here. Is follow check data. If is following is true, then we are going to show following, otherwise we are going to show follow. Okay, and also we are going to add one more thing here. So while this is pending, we are going to make this pointer event none, otherwise we are going to do nothing. Now let's save and let's see if this is working or not. I'm going to refresh it. So now I have not logged in, so I should not be able to follow it. As you can see, nothing happens because I'm not logged in. So we can add a checkpoint here. If a session which we are getting from here, if the session is not present, then we can redirect the user to the login page. Okay, now let's try. Let's go inspect this. Let's see what we are getting as error. Okay, so I think the redirect is not working. I'm going to use router here instead. So I'm going to import use router. Okay, we can add const router is equals to use router, not sooner use router, and then I can push the user to the login page. So over here, router dot push the user to the login page. Now this should work. As you can see, the URL has changed to the login page, and yeah, we are on the login page. But one thing, as you can see here, when we redirected to the login page, that model was still open. So I'm also going to close that model. So we can write it like this, and let's get the state for that model. So we can write const use I don't know what we call here. Let's go below, and this is use selected store. Okay, so use selected short store. Okay, and from that we are going to get on close short function, and I'm going to call that over here, on close short function. And now that should solve the problem. So when I click on this, yeah, much better. And now we have to log in first. So I'm going to now log in, and now I have logged in here. Now let's open this, and as you can see, this is showing me follow button, but if I open this will not show anything because I am the author myself. Okay, so this will not do anything. Now let's open this as well. Now I'm going to click on this follow button, and yeah, we are getting an error. Let's go here and let's see what we are getting as an error. So find unique action. Let's close the server. This might solve the problem. Sometimes it does happen, so I'm going to first check the server before doing anything else. Okay, so let's open this. Going to click on this. Yeah, so nothing's happened, I think. So now this is following, so I think the function is working, but this part is not working. Okay, is following data check. So this should refetch the data whenever I click on this. So why this is not refetching that data? Let's console this data. So now, and I'm going to remove all these consoles first. So now here, as you can see right now, this following is false. That's why we are seeing this follow button. And now when I click on this, let me remove this, and when I click on this is still false, but we have just followed this user, so now this should be following. But as you can see, this is following, but when I refresh this, then I'm getting the latest data. Okay, so this is the problem that we have to solve, and I think the problem is coming from this key. So here, as you can see, the key here is follow toggle. So as soon as we invoke this function, this query runs and this fetches new data. But as we know that this function will take some time, this mutation will take some time to actually follow or unfollow that user, and because of that delay we are getting stale data. Okay, so what we can do here, instead of this function, we are going to use this mutation. So we can use follow mutation dot is success. Okay, so when this whole part is successful, either we have followed or unfollowed that data, or we got an error, after that we are actually going to run this query, and now this will actually solve our problem. So let's try. When I click on this, as you can see, I unfollowed that user. I'm getting is following to be false, and also this changes to follow. Okay, and let's again follow this author. Okay, so this fetches the data again, and now we are getting following, and also you can see we get a small loading icon. Okay, so this is working. Okay, so now with this I'm going to wrap up this tutorial. So in this tutorial we work on this extra shorts by this author and also worked on this following button. Now in the next video we are going to work on this like and comment part. Okay, so this was all for this video.